the best team in the regular season compared to GAM, even though they lost to them 3-0 in the finals and 3-2 in the semifinals to knock them down into that stage. So that's just a little bit of stake setting. Now we're into draft, and I think this Nidalee is probably going top, but it's a flex.
It's a flex, absolutely. Elyoya and Myrwn both known for picking this champion. Of course, Nidalee wasn't immensely popular domestically in the LEC, but it was a niche pick for a number of players. Myrwn, the only top laner to bring it out, but the ban's going to be interesting as well. Obviously, you heard it highlighted on the desk, but AD carries have been hit pretty significantly, and so the bans have adjusted greatly since we last saw League of Legends competitively. So the Jax, the Sen, the Ziggs, on the opposite side, the Vi, the Ashe, and the Skarner, but quick, pretty solid, stable champions locked in by VKE.
And Poppy is going to be, if not banned, an extremely popular pick in this specific slot because you can play it support jungle top in theory. So not only will it be flexible in role, it also makes the other team inflexible in what they can pick because now Mad doesn't want to take too many dash champions. So the 1-2 pick there from Viking, not that unsurprising based on what we've seen from Champions Queue.
Definitely. That flexibility, that stability, the scaling in the mid lane as well for Katy. Upside for MDK. Looks like we might just have the scaling AD carry arms race. I feel like anytime Jinx or Aphelios comes back into the meta, the other one's coming too. We'll see if there's any new build strategies for both these champions. Obviously adjusted multiple times since we last saw them in pro play, but instead the Ezreal is going to be the option. Certainly a lot more safety on the bottom side. Could free up BA to roam if he is on something like the Poppy support. That'd be highly beneficial. But see what the angle is here from VKE.
Absolutely. So trying to figure out very early on what's happening in this draft and also what has changed from the summer splits that we saw to now. The biggest difference, I think, is going to be mages in the mid lane instead of a slew of AD carries. And I think specifically for Mad, that's going to help them a lot. I don't think Fresskowy ever took that well to the AD carry meta, but he's been a pro for a lot longer than just this year if you look at his total competitive career. And his most played all time are mages, as are most mid laners who have played along an effective meta. So I think he's going to be a lot more comfortable here. Something like even Ahri, Syndra are going to be available for him, and he can slot right in.
And so many of those AP items buffed as well, whether it's cost reduction or stats adjustments. See what he wants to prioritize. Shadow Flame, the first one that comes to my mind. VKE continuing what feels to be, I don't want to say like a standard pro play comp, because Lee Sin obviously is a bit spicy in this modern era, but you have a lot of stability here. Early active jungler with some playmaking on the Lee Sin, alongside the stability of an Orianna and Ezreal, and a Poppy who still can really go in any position that she needs to outside of jungle, of course.
Yeah, I mean, definitely watching a little bit of LEC. Oscarinen's classic Poppy top lane into Ksante could be a counter matchup. There was one support Poppy game for Viking in their entire summer split plus playoffs, but there's a lot of stuff here that's actually not that common, and it shows how far the meta has changed. They played 0 Orianna games because they were pretty much super abiding by the Corki Zeri game. That's the Cinder locked in as we were expecting actually for Fresskowy, and it looks like the world's meta is fairly similar to what we've been seeing in Champions Queue, Drakos.
Yeah, very much. And I think interesting because to me this feels like this is almost the safe League of Legends competitive meta. Mages in the mid lane, AD carries, and like, we've been here. We know what this is about. This is the realm of outplays that I'm ready to cast, that I'm ready to talk about. The Camille, however, something a little bit more spicy for the top side of the map, and I really like this from the side of VKE. I think it would be easy to say, hey, Nanaue, we expect you to fall behind. Yeah. We're going to focus elsewhere on the map, but instead saying, no, we are ready to play towards the top side of the map. We are ready to try to support this rookie top laner in finding a lead.
Well, I'm interested here, Drakos, because Myrwn, even though he had 4 Nidalee games, his most played champion in summer plus playoffs was actually the Ksante. Didn't have a good record on it though, 1-4. So how confident are you with this very standard looking Mad draft?
I think I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that there's been an evolution in the time that since we've last seen them. But I think one of the biggest criticisms leveled against Myrwn was, hey, this isn't an ace up your sleeve that you have these ranged top laners. This is actually the only card that you have. This is the thing that you are good at. So the question now is, will we see that evolution where in this first best of 3?
Yeah, quick hit on the format. As you mentioned, there are 4 teams moving on from the play-in to the Swiss stage, unlike last year where there were only 2 teams. So for these teams that are actually in the play-ins, it is a little bit more forgiving of a format. If I'm looking at the top lane engage right here, they're going to get some nice poke down.
Definitely not a forgiving level 1.
Yeah.
For Nanaue, that's pretty frustrating. Not sure what the time is on the clock as of this moment, but given how persistent Elyoya is being, minions just now spawning, Nanaue's not really going to get a chance to reset unless he wants to use that TP early on.
I mean, Elyoya is going to probably throw a spear on him, and they're just going to get even more vision.
Just finding individual members really early callouts here, and this has to be frustrating for VKE because it's just so disruptive to any plan you brought to the table.
Well, also, we could be seeing a swap in game 1. Look where Supa is still. He's still around the red buff, going to be taking this top wave. So the changes that actually happened to the lane swap since the last time we saw Mad play is the turret fortification up top is much stronger. So it's way harder to take early plates, and it's a higher sacrifice for the actual plate gold that you're going to get. So I need to see now how well VKE stack that wave in bot lane and how big the plate differential ends up being.
It's a good question. From 75% fortification to 85% fortification on that top lane tower for the first 5 minutes of the game. It is nigh impossible to kill.
And 10% is not always 10%.
Yeah.
Right? When you're going towards 100% fortification, so it looks small on paper, is big in actuality, and they're actually going to be getting near that turret in the top lane fairly soon as we see some counter jungling coming down from the Lee Sin as well. And currently, nobody underneath that turret, but Alvaro is looking to probably hold under this wave, and Myrwn can probably teleport in as well. This is the adaptation we've seen from a lot of top teams. When you get a level 2 support and a level 2 top laner, you can usually catch that wave and not die.
Alvaro, see if you can get any XP here. Unlikely he'll be able to grab any gold. This 4v1.
Yeah, but if they TP in, then they can probably hold 2v4.
Have to see. The Poppy Camille dive threat is big. Alvaro needs to be able to proc Aftershock. He immediately gets it off, buys himself a bit more time, but the Ignite is already ticking, flashing out away from Bay, but the shield is already there. Myrwn now coming in and looking to punish the Camille, taken out, perfectly timed TP. Turns that into a 1-for-1, and Myrwn is here to catch the wave. Clutch for MDK.
Man, that's a bold play there, and it worked out beautifully for Mad. I think if Myrwn teleports in early, they maybe don't even dive, but in terms of actual top lane experience, this is the dream. Sure, his support dies. Who cares? He gets an extra 300 gold, and he gets to catch the whole wave of solo experience on the Ksante. That's nice.
That's absolutely fantastic. So often in the lane swap, you're really just judging the XP difference between these respective solo laners. Myrwn able to catch a ton of that, was sharing with Supa as well, so it feels pretty fantastic about that exchange. And I'm not going to say it was perfectly planned, but the result definitely feels pretty good, as now Katy forced to flash away early, devastating in this matchup because Fresskowy's setup for future ganks is just so easy.
Absolutely, and I think that's a continuation of the lane swap. Once the support dies bottom lane, you don't know what lane the Jinx or the Ksante are going to be redeploying to. Definitely just lost track of where the Nautilus could be, so good gank there by Alvaro, and maybe overstaying a little bit in this lane, but it's totally fine as long as Supa is uncontested in that bot lane on Jinx.
Yep, Supa happy to have that time isolated on the top side. Only a single plate being taken across that entire swap, much more about that early dive, which is big. You can see the gold essentially neck and neck. 6.5, 100 gold difference, really all it's separating. We'll see as we get closer and closer to that first grub spawn. If anyone is going to reset, try to reposition on the map to try and find a man advantage or more vision control around that objective. But for now, relatively quiet early game following that initial chaotic few levels.
Yeah, we got really excited about that lane swap.
And then it was
But now I'm looking at the scoreboard, and there's like half a level for Myrwn ahead of Nanaue, and then the 80 carries are basically the same experience. It's a plate for 10 more CS. It pretty much canceled itself out, and now we're back into standard lanes.
Yeah, I guess you got away from the Ezreal before first base. You know, when he goes back and he has to buy tier, he's not that threatening, but when he's just on that Doran's and he can jump on top of you, he gets all those free stats, maybe he's a bit more of a threat, but yeah, pretty quiet overall.
Junglers are the same CS.
Yeah. This is the modern era of lane swaps, you know? Frankly, I think MDK did get away with murder there because the Balance team really tried to make it as unappealing as possible to lane swap. They said, you will lose so much money if you try to go for this.
We might see gank top.
Level 5 will be difficult to lock down. Doesn't have 6, but does have Flash. Not opting for the Ghost in this matchup. Still tanky. Not sure if he has the W, the Pathmaker up and available, but won't even need to use it.
Yeah, and Lee Sin just had a bunch of free time there. You can see there's no jungle camps up at the moment. Grubs haven't spawned yet. Nobody's on Drake, so he really just wanted to get some poke off. On the lane swap thing, I think that's going to be a developing story throughout this World Championship, is how much are we actually going to see, because we actually got to speak to the Balance team about the lane swap changes, and there would be ways to actually eliminate lane swaps, but the collateral damage to the way the rest of the game functions would be way too high. So the existing lever to diminish lane swaps, which is essentially the turret fortification,
how much stronger can the turret get?
They just turned that dial up, right? It's not 100% damage reduction. It's 85%, and as you can see, it's like a 3 or 4 minute swap, and now a swap back now that the fortification has fallen at 5 minutes. So game 1 of 1 for lane swaps. We're going to see what ends up happening through the rest of the series, and honestly, throughout the rest of Worlds.
It's a good question. Of course, objectives being traded here, both tower plates and grubs for Dragon. So MDK grabbing a couple plates topside for the Jinx. Elyoya going to pick up all 3 of the initial grub spawn. Grub trade early on, I feel like much better than the Drake, but if we end up in a late game situation, that might change. Instant hook onto Poppy, coming in from Alvaro. BA on the way out is Supa ghosting already. This is a bit aggressive. If the spear doesn't land from Elyoya, but it does! That's the damage they need. MDK finding a kill on the top side, and Nanaue is going to feel a lot less comfortable sitting under that tower, but luckily does tick over to level 6.
Yeah, really nice getting the kill onto Elyoya there after the grubs, then also being able to invade and take this red buff. Might slingshot him ahead of the Lee Sin a little bit, and that I think is the most positive play that Mad have had yet this game.
Certainly, and I think it's pretty difficult for there to be a counterpunch on the bottom side from VKE, because the Lee Sin Ezreal against a potential level 6 Ksante is just a difficult target to lock down, especially when he already has double cloth armor, and now you might see the re-dive. BA coming in, level 6 there, Supa going to be in trouble. Knockback interrupted by the traps, BA, no! That's not how you want to start it, the rocket! Now the reset, Supa getting excited and getting the hell out. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Myrwn a little bit aggro here, potentially even greedy, but now going to go Pathmaker through, wants to go for the solo kill, getting away from the Lee Sin. It's greedy, he wants to style, he's feeling alive, but a bit overeager. It's going to cost him as VKE are quick to punish.
Swing and a miss there for Myrwn. Would have had the tools to escape, collect this big wave under the turret, goes for the big play and falls. That kind of cancels out the positive play for Mad on the other side of the map. Supa narrowly avoiding that fast play that Nanaue tried to pull off on the top lane. So all told, it was another trade, really, even though they were somewhat disconnected plays.
Yeah, hovering in the darkness here, ready to protect his control ward, but you're completely correct. I think Myrwn, I respect that this is a stage he knows, he's feeling comfortable, he's feeling confident, he wants to go for the play, but it's one of those classic situations in pro play where you didn't need to. If it worked, great, but you kind of already won on the top side. You don't need to go for anything else. That said, won't cost him in the 1v1, and that is going to be big. He's still fine versus the Camille. Nanaue already running relatively low on mana, does have 2 biscuits. But Myrwn comfortable at least in that 1v1.
And we're going to get to see this again. I actually like the idea of the fast play from Nanaue here to try and burst out the Jinx, but they just weren't quite quick enough. If they sit under the turret, maybe the dive just gets canceled out, but if they could have gotten that 1 kill, they really could have burned a lot of tempo. Myrwn right here, I think he actually does have a kill angle, but you can see he misses his E, he ults over, he flashes, missed his Q3 as well, then can't get the dash through onto Shogun either, so missed a lot of spells there to prevent the kill onto Ezreal.
Yeah, good movement coming in ultimately to avoid some of that Ksante burst that'll come through.
Yeah, and listen, Shogun is not like he's some scrub on Ezreal. He's 11-1 on Ezreal this summer, so he's definitely very skilled and comfortable on the pick. That's one of the reasons they would have picked it after seeing the Jinx on it.
And if any champion in the game can dance around a Ksante, it is the Ezreal. This is not an immobile AD carry sitting waiting to be jumped on. Now, again, gold lead not massive. 3 grubs here. Second grub spawn is going to be big. If MDK can get that 4 stack, can get that buff, will aid a lot of that side lane pressure that they really do have. The Nidalee kind of a constant threat here for anyone sitting under a tower. The poke, the ability to really just jail opposing laners, stop them from being able to walk too far forward.
Yeah, and I want to see how Elyoya continues to play this Nidalee as the game progresses, because there's a couple different ways you can play it. You can play it to just consistently 3-man the bot lane and just kind of fire spears and keep getting advantages, or you can do to counter jungle the other team. You can see a defense already set up here for Viking with both Camille and Ezreal top, which will match the 3v3 of Mad and probably just make Elyoya retreat.
VKE, you can see, have the tools to kill Supa. In the previous play, they fumbled it just a little bit. Nanaue wants to keep it going. Traps on the ground once again. Not afraid to walk forward. That initial magic damage shield now fading away. Elyoya backing away. The mark not going to get procced by Ezreal as an entire creep wave will be lost in the bottom lane. Well highlighted observers. The cannon minion slows that a little bit, but a couple hundred standing gold essentially paid by VKE to get involved in this play. Gury not going to find the kick, but they have successfully zoned MDK away from the grubs thus far.
Yeah, I mean, VKE spent so much on this play already. They only get 1 grub. They've lost waves mid. They've lost waves tops, and I think they're going to get a fight here. Myrwn.
Ulti from Myrwn is going to be big, trying to get around Katy. Going to move forward, going to find the Ezreal, pull him right over the wall, and there's Supa. Hand delivered the nightmare of every single AD carry.
what a huge play for Matt here, because it's not just about the kill onto the Ezreal. It's about everything else. Every wave was sacrificed there by VKE to either get a kill or secure the grubs. They do not get a kill. They do not get the majority of the grubs. That's now a 5-grub game for Mad, so they're going to be getting the little extra voidlings every time they hit the turret. And on top of that, it's actually Myrwn who's able to get the flank. What a nice play. They're going into 5 people, not getting locked down, taking the Ezreal to safety with himself, and getting the kill. Beautifully done.
And there's so many times in pro play where you will see teams willfully sacrifice, you know, something like standing gold or a wave to make a play. But when the play you try to make also fails, it's just all those deficits start to compound. And now we're seeing MDK pull ahead with a pretty significant goal lead. And with the grubs backing them up as well, it'll only make the Herald more powerful. It'll only make further pushes on side lane powerful as well. So things looking a little bit difficult here for VKE thus far. Of course, 1-2 items for both the Ezreal and the Orianna. They'll still be powerful in the context of the game, but they can't really afford any more sloppy setups. Can't afford to walk away empty-handed from any more plays like that.
Yeah, absolutely not. You can see Elyoya really setting up shop here in the top side, warding off the Poppy at the red buff, which then gives Supa free time to take what could be the first turret of the game and extra plates on the Jinx. So this seems to be the style for Elyoya this game. He's not trying to heavily counter jungle the Lee Sin and get a massive CS advantage for himself. He's trying to just get his Jinx ahead, because that's ultimately going to be the win condition of the team. Currently, most of the gold lead was on the Nidalee. It was 1,000 of the 1,600, but giving that first turret over to the Jinx spreads their gold lead a lot more evenly. Now, Jinx is also 1,000 gold up over Shogun's Ezreal.
We'll see how they want to assign lanes here, as Fresskowy is able to push Shogun out of lane. Looks like Supa just going straight to mid lane. Makes sense, get control of the map, and again, 5 grubs attached to a Jinx. It's a very scary prospect when it comes to tower pressure and threat. VKE will continue to stack dragons, however, so potentially something in their back pocket, a get-out-of-jail-free card for any early game mistakes if they are able to secure soul or force a favorable fight when MDK are inevitably forced to contest.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if they are able to kill Nidalee and get a turret of their own, they're right back in the game.
Close. Gury trying to hover in fog. Looks like they've locked up Myrwn. Myrwn in trouble here, unstoppable, but obviously the Camille ult still going to bring him back. Likely to fall. Myrwn now trying to get fancy with a will dash, have a safety footwork. Not quite in range for Alvaro to get the extra range. Unstoppable though. Follow-up is there. Myrwn's still alive. Ball comes in. Katy takes him down. Instantly the Poppy goes in. Quick wall bang to finish it. Like you talked about it, they might not have killed the Nidalee, but top and support, a pretty damn good deal.
Pretty huge though. They completely stopped that push, and unlike the last play where they committed heavily and gave up several waves, they have Shogun catching waves in the mid lane, and just now Fresskowy is getting that wave in a top side, so they didn't actually sacrifice that much for those 2 kills. Plus they're getting an extra play. They just missed it for Katy's Orianna. But yeah, big play here, since they do have the 2 Drakes, if they can just equalize this gold a little bit.
Myrwn, I think, feeling confident knowing Elyoya was waiting, not anticipating the additional member from VKE, and of course Camille, one of the few champions alongside Poppy in the game who can stop Ksante from just walking out of any potential gank.
Yeah, and a little bit unfortunate here as Myrwn gets tagged by that Q, brings the Lee Sin a little bit closer, and then I think Alvaro probably could have gotten away if he wasn't trying to save Myrwn in the first place. So one of those things that you're going to probably make that call every time. It just ends up being a little bit negative in retrospect.
Certainly. MDK, though, continue to hold on to this gold lead. Still a pretty sizable advantage, but as you highlighted before, really just in jungle and AD. If Supa or Elyoya aren't involved in the play, that gold lead really does not exist. And now for Nanaue on the top side, small advantage, Triforce finished. 1-2 items where we expect to see Camille be a bit more of a terror on the side lane.
Yeah, it's a champion that you have to constantly respect, because the ability for the Lee Sin to hide behind the Camille and then burst down pretty much anyone except for Myrwn is going to be present the entire game. So Syndra Fresskowy has to be very vigilant of that possibility whenever he's pushing sides this game.
Definitely does. That Camille side lane threat is going to disrupt so much of what MDK would normally be able to do with a lead like this. So for now, they're just going to focus on playing around the Jinx.
This is nice.
Keep core members strong. I like using the Herald in mid lane, just get more passive control over the map instead of trying to get that additional gold from going on side. And MDK not afraid to walk up here. Supa knows he has so much coverage from his team. A second charge, all those little grubbies. They want to get a second tower here. Instant stun on the BA. Hook goes in. Alvaro unfortunately hitting a minion, but tower will fall. MDK feeling great about that one. debating if they want to keep pushing. I think Tower 3 would be a bit greedy. Katy already on the flank, ready to punish if they do decide to go for it. Good use of the ball to get passive information here, but the vision control on the bottom side jungle here from VKE, not fantastic, so don't really feel confident to walk in or threaten.
Really nice play there by Mad. I'd say Elyoya just kind of setting up shop whenever they have the Jinx and the Nautilus and just fishing for spears. Does a lot to make the other team very hesitant to be in an engage range where they can have a counterattack, not to mention they just had a large numbers advantage there the entire time. So getting 2 turrets off of a Herald is probably like top 5% of all Heralds you're going to get, especially when it's the 2 mid turrets.
Double mid towers I have not seen very
not
frequently. No. Very powerful, so much passive control generated now. Every time Supa pushes a wave here, we'll see how confident Shogun is to step up. For now, it seems like he is, but when they don't have that vision, he's really gonna have to be cautious about going too far forward. Elyoya spending some of that well-earned money on the Seeker's arm guard, so not more damage, instead getting a defensive item, maybe hoping to limit some of VKE's options or angles of attack in any coming fights.
And I will say this next minute for Mad is really important that they can get proper setup on this Drake and secure it, because when you give away the first 2 Drakes for Herald, Grub, and Gold control, you can't lose this 3rd Drake.
Right onto the side lane. Combo decent to start, taking their time here. Fresskowy gonna try to ult flashing out. The TP now coming in, but that TP might cost him. Myrwn. Advantage thus far. Nanaue now the one in trouble. Gury has to be careful. Low health bar.
Oh, they're trapped.
If a spear hits, it's gonna be big. Nice sidestep going in. Quick dash out, but he should just be dead. The smite for additional movement speed. A quick thumbs up. I like the confidence on the international stage, but he's probably just dead. Yeah, he's gone.
Right, but Orianna got out. It was a full recall on a bush. Now he's teleporting back
TP. Katy wants more of a fight. BA on the way in as well. Myrwn taken down. Aggressive maneuver coming in from VKE, but they are able to get that kill.
Katy could hide in that bottom turret bush right there, and he was able to get a full channeled recall off, then teleports back in to get the kill. And even though they killed the jungler, they're down both soul laners, so they might not even be able to secure this Drake.
Someone needs to answer this wave on the bottom side. Nanaue, will he overstay? No, happy. Just get a bit of extra pressure and walk away. Recall's coming through. Nanaue should escape, but Elyoya off on the side. Are they willing to chase this Camille to the ends of the earth to stop this recall?
There's no TP to save him this time, but it's also, they don't entirely know where everyone is, and they also don't know where the Camille is entirely, plus with the flash up, that's big. So because everyone's respawn timers took so long and they're redeploying now towards mid lane, it's again the setup for this Dragon. So we're in a bit of the same situation where if Mad can't stop the Dragon snowball, they'd actually be in trouble despite how much gold they have on the Nidalee and the Jinx.
Yeah, Supa is powerful. If they can protect him in a fight, if they can get a full 5v5, they're going to feel good. But right now, it's VKE who pushed that wave and who forced MDK to respond. VKE who are going to be first and set up on the Drake, doing their diligence now to clear out some of this vision.
Well, I will say, with the Camille showing on this wave,
and no TP,
Mad should just walk in and take it.
Yeah. DK had first move in mid, but instead prioritizing giving Nanaue some time to pick up XP, maybe take down a tower. Obviously under no threat themselves, right? The MDK have not taken a single Drake yet, so instead just getting some free gold, maybe feeling like once Camille gets to 2 items, their game plan gets a lot easier, as it will just be a tower for Drake exchange. MDK would like to make it positive in their favor, but Katy quick with the shockwave there means that no wave to play on.
No, that was a really nice ult there by Katy to save that turret, because you could see Mad wanted to go for a turret trade there. Maybe we see a little bit of 1v1 action. No, he's just going to dash away.
Gury constantly here to cover, but play just going to fizzle. Taking blue here with... It's a bit bold.
Yep, a little bit.
All right.
Elyoya, he's going to get it, though.
He said might be blind, but you can't say he's not confident.
Nope. Turret ends up going to the Syndra anyway, just 30 seconds late, so it ends up actually being the turret trade. Gold lead stays about the same, but I'm actually pretty impressed with Viking here sticking with Mad. I think since this gold lead was about 2,000 or 3,000 8 minutes ago, I've seen a lot of other games between major region, play-in region, snowball from that point, but they've held on. They've pulled off a couple of nice plays with Nanaue's Camille. I'd say Katy's Orianna has really shown up in the right spots, and they haven't really been heavily out-macroed here. So this game will come down, I think, to Mad finding ways to get picks in the jungle, take second-tier turrets, and ultimately force Baron, because I think if they end up having to wait until Soul for this game, we're talking like a 40-minute game, and it's a total flip. But with this advantage, there would be a play. Like, say if they can actually catch Camille up here in the top lane, keep going for that turret, these are the types of plays Mad's going to be looking for.
And MDK as a team, of course, love to fish for picks. One of the simplest ways in the mid and late game for them to close things out. Oftentimes, not always the cleanest mid to late game macro team in the context of the LEC, so a bit of a test here for them in their first play-ins game. Right now, advantage on top side. multiple members committed. No real other pressure point on the map for right now. Nanaue overcommitting. The spear connecting instantly. Just one tapped here, but now the TP coming in. MDK have to be diligent on the retreat. Instantly, everyone is recalling. Tier 2 tower and a kill going to be traded for this Tier 1 tower. Shogun is at least firing back. Yeah,
probably caster curse to macro a little bit there. I think that was a split call if I'm going to give Nanaue the benefit of the doubt. The fact that the Orianna teleport came in on what would have been a flank ward meant they were probably saying that they were going to be looking for a fight, so Nanaue wanted to have the turret there for the fight and trap them. But Mad was faster on the play. The Demolish plus the Jinx took the turret faster than he expected, and he ends up just looking like a fool.
Jinx now getting closer to 3 items as well, i.e. the Phantom Dancer Ezreal, even a bit of lifesteal in the mix. Supa's playing a pretty comfortable game at this stage.
Yeah.
Hasn't really been under too much threat. Haven't really been any big 5v5s yet, outside of a single play around the top side and that second grub spawn. But Baron's now on the table, and obviously Jinx always going to be pretty fantastic at taking that objective if left unattended, as VKE trying to make a fast play on the mid lane. Supa getting out. Oh, he's walking up now. Backstep is good movement.
Oh, he's going to be really fed this game. he's not even reached his final form there, and he's already dodging around, getting huge poke damage onto the Lee Sin. I think the player that has been largely silent but is now very important, as that recall almost gets interrupted, is Fresskowy Syndra.
Yeah.
This is the item buff for Storm Surge, and it's also the champion that has become viable because of it. He's at a point where he can probably one-shot the Camille at the start of a team fight, which is really going to diminish Viking's ability to engage.
Definitely is, right? And both buffed items, the Ludens and the Storm Surge, adjusted in between the mini patches since we've last seen competitive play, regardless of what your personal playoffs were played on. We'll see how he wants to leverage that threat. Even just the scatter the weak to start fights alongside Elyoya is going to be such a massive threat. And the frustrating part is, if you buy MR to deal with this mid-jungle duo and end up in a team fight, Supa's going to eat you alive.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's very, very low Mercury Treads usage by this team. So like Katy goes a little bit damage heavy. I could see a little bit of MR from Orianna in this matchup generally, if it's a Nidalee Orianna mid-jungle. But I think because the Jinx is so accelerated, the game plan for VKE is probably just going to be to try and punish the immobility of the damage dealers. Even though the Syndra and the Jinx are very fed, if they are somehow both in range of a Camille Orianna engage, they will disappear. So it's going to be these team fights are going to be very skill dependent on whether or not Viking can land their skill shots.
About to set up Shogun.
Or Shogun might just be
very far ahead of the mid lane wave, and that might cost him. For now, it's just the flash. Zap does hit. MDK want to follow up. Alvaro immediately going to find the flash. The knockup still going to come through on the ulti, but BA managing to get at least a little bit of a disengage. The Poppy now trying to walk away. Good Ezreal TP on the flank as well. Camille coming in, but Orianna nowhere to be found yet. That shockwave will be everything if they can find MDK group, but MDK able to retreat, able to back off without losing too much.
All right, so let's check what actually got burned. The Camille loses the teleport, which diminishes their ability to trade when giving up Drake. There's no flash on the Ezreal, and Matt is trying to set up for this Drake, but it's not going to be given.
But it's important to note, when they started to push out mid lane, already VKE were on the side lanes. You can see that entire bot lane wave getting deleted. They're losing gold just to be here. MDK conceding a couple waves, conceding some prio on the map, committing a lot, but oh my god, the magic damage is massive, and now Shogun's been caught out as well! He doesn't even have room to play the game! VKE couldn't find the angle to force a fight, can't even find the angle to group up and fight together. Katy getting nothing done, Supa finding the kill, MDK fully confident in their ability to execute on that 5v5.
That might be the play that breaks the game open for Mad. You could see the Syndra power there, bursting the majority of the Camille's health before the final spear comes through to finish the job. Now 6 kills for Elyoya's Nidalee. Watching this one more time, even if they don't land the hard CC, just the R button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spheres, not even a like Giga 7 or 8 sphere move right there, is enough to take him down. And then with the Camille down, there is no one in front, and they can clear the rest. They take the Drake. Now they go for Baron. This is a bit dicey.
Gury is here. Flash, smite available. Fresskowy with the initial interrupt. Now they instantly turn on the Lee Sin. They do not want to let them get the steal. BA trying to buy as much space as he can for his jungler to escape. Thus far, looks the rocket! He can feel the wind on his backside. Barely able to walk that one out, but it's at least stopped the play crucially. And the side wave still in favor of VKE. At some point, MDK will need to manage here.
Man, that was close. You could see the Cinder turning on, though. Like, that damage is really
I'm going to be honest, I'm looking at how much damage that Syndra goes, and I go, I don't know if this was a Ravenous Hydra game, but this might just be a cheeky Baron game. TP coming in. Full 5v5 ready. VKE are going to get this objective. Elyoya has no way in. Myrwn getting cheeky. He cannot steal this, and they'll walk away unscathed. They come into MDK's house in Berlin, and they just start stealing objectives. You'll love to see it.
They left the door open. What are they doing? Do they understand? No.
Possession is 9/10 of the law, Jatt. That's what I've heard. Look, they possess the Baron buff right now. It belongs to them. Nothing MDK can do about that.
That's a sweet call, to be completely honest. In this situation where VKE have lost a couple skirmishes in a row, how Gury's Lee Sin nearly gets one shot just for checking the Baron as Mad is trying to take it, but then because too many of Mad recalled at the same time, they don't have enough poke to stop VKE from just bursting the Baron. I think they would have really just underestimated the damage, because like you look, Ezreal, Orianna, Lee Sin, Camille, doesn't seem like the type of team that would kill Baron very fast, because there's no like Azir or Jinx or Kalista type that is just going to burn it, but that thing died very fast, and that keeps the game close and competitive.
And I think one of the struggles of MDK's composition is if they're ever outnumbered, none of these champions really have too much individual playmaking potential in terms of the Nidalee, the Syndra, the Jinx. Like, yeah, maybe you take one person out, maybe you're able to poke a bit, but you can't get in there and risk anything to get a steal. Nidalee will just get one popped. Gury, though, waiting off to the side, bot prio right now in favor of VKE, but no one down there to push that wave forward. Instead, maybe just hoping to find a couple of picks here. Gury walking in. Ksante definitely not the target he was looking for, so just forced to back out there is, in the meantime, Fresskowy catching that top wave. Thus far, not a very exciting Baron, right? Almost a minute of it used essentially for no effect, basically just to buy time to get waves. No towers have really been threatened yet.
Yeah, I also think generally when you sneak a Baron like that from behind, it's very unlikely you have a big Baron power play.
Yeah.
Because it is basically just a way of delaying the game and equalizing the gold slightly. I think
the Red Bull Baron power play is the value of the Baron. Not a lot more gold was accrued.
Good job. They stopped the game from snowballing out of control, and it's been at around 2,000 or 3,000 of a gold lead for about the last 20 minutes, I almost want to say. I think this game mostly is going to be about how both teams play around Supa's Jinx, though. Blood First are completed, 3 full items, working on the 4th, and the fact that there is 2 low mobility carries, Fresskowy and the Jinx, if they do not frontline properly ahead of him, they can get him one shot, but if Mad sets up well, with the power they have of like Nautilus, Ksante, they can actually still mow through VKE in team fights.
Well, and essentially, there's almost no defensive itemization that has come through from VKE yet, outside of the Poppy, outside of the Archangel's passive. So they're very vulnerable. A single Jinx reset will allow Supa to take over a team fight immediately. But as you highlighted so well, you have an Orianna ball that you can strap to a Camille, that you can strap to a Lee Sin, and that will very quickly end Supa's life. But the rapid fire cannon coming through 4th, so often people would go for armor pen, but there's no armor. So he just has the luxury of buying so many of these more aggressive AD carry items, and now he's going to be even more comfortable in the fights.
Yeah, if we're trying to guess what VKE is saying about their itemization, is the best defense is more offense. Because they just need more damage to make sure that the Jinx and the Syndra can't take him down.
I just think Sterix Gauge is generally such a strong item, and while I get Ravenous for the side lane threat, I'm just like, I can't just Sterix Gauge every game. Sterix Gauge,
it's probably
please.
Coming next.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what the tunnelers are for.
Yeah.
But I think that alone is going to help so much with specifically Fresskowy burst. Of course, if you're caught out, it won't matter too much, but in those closer fights, it'll stop at least that initial potential reset, because that's the big scary case for VKE, is Syndra pops somebody, gets Jinx a reset, and then the fight is immediately over.
Yeah, this is it though. You can see VKE in the river, but they're not able to hold the bush. So,
instant pick. Yeah, full confidence. Supa now going in. Fresskowy retreating. BA picked off. VKE spending a bit too much effort setting up these traps, looking for these flank angles, and just not bringing enough members to the play. Gury will take the objective, bringing them up to soul point. Now going to make his way over the top. In the meantime, Shogun now trying to get out. Nanaue getting the kill back. Fresskowy taking out of the equation. Gury coming around the corner. Shogun, Myrwn going all out. Can he take down 2? Dashing forward, now has to backstep. Is instantly going to cancel the all, wants to keep going. Gury's still alive. Gury's still healing. The extra healing coming in. It's so much work. It's such an incredible moment, but it doesn't matter because Supa is still alive. The Jinx still there to finish the job.
What is going on, Drakos? This was now a 4 for 2. The Drake ends up going to VKE, and Nanaue might actually get the tier 2 mid.
He's gonna get it, he's gonna walk away. Quick hook shot out. Worlds, baby!
Okay, So, to recap, it looked like Katy was in a foolish spot, and that was just going to be it. Because they're able to get 2 kills before the play even starts. It's now 3v5, so Mad definitely lets their guard down. There's no way Fresskowy expected the Camille to still go for a play after all that. Then, nobody marks the Lee Sin. He's able to steal it, and then this extended fight is just hands from Shogun, being able to get enough damage onto Myrwn. Because if they're just, like, the fact that they killed Elyoya in all of this is going to be the biggest tragedy, and the fact that that went over to Ezreal. What an insane sequence.
I think, yeah, that is the optimum word, because that was wild. And just a reminder for all the Lee Sin enthusiasts out there that Sundered Sky is insane. I think that was about 800 health from Sundered Sky procs alone in that fight, allowing Gury to play on the absolute edge to salvage what he could from that exchange. And despite so many of the bigger plays, like the grubs, a couple of these Drake contests going to MDK, the gold is neck and neck, and Nanaue is just becoming a bigger and bigger threat. Ksante's resistance is meaning less and less now that he is at 3 items.
Yeah, if he ever finds the Syndra or the Jinx without Peel or the rest of the team there, he will kill them.
All I'm saying is, Supa is very rich, but Supa is also desperation rich because that is a Seeker's Arm Guard on AD carry, which is not completely uncommon, but that is a respect to Nanaue, respect to the burst potential of the enemy team sort of purchase, because he knows if he's ever picked off, very likely MDK could concede at least a major objective, if not the entire game.
Yeah, I think it's a smart purchase for how rich he is at the moment. When he has enough money to buy a full Guardian Angel, I think he'll sell the Seekers and probably buy the Guardian Angel, but by that time, he's probably used it at least once. But Baron's up, and it's time to set up and wait for someone to come in, because what happened on the last Drake, the start of it was actually very good for Mad. If they can find Orianna or someone trying to move into their zone, they're going to be able to win that fight because they have a stronger front line and they have good ways of following up on that front line. But if the game gets too chaotic, that's when it's going to favor Vikings.
We're also in an interesting situation because Nidalee obviously wildly far ahead of Gury on this Lee Sin, but so many late game situations with a Nidalee or Lee Sin in the game, you're like, oh, late game they have less value than their counterpart. But Lee Sin, much higher value in this late game in terms of playmaking potential than a Nidalee, whereas normally he's going to be outclassed by something like a Sejuani, like a Maokai. Here he's actually able to pose a much bigger threat to finding these pick angles, finding these creative plays, whereas Elyoya, yeah, he can still kill those targets in isolation, can still land those big spears, but it's much harder to get immediate, reliable value out of this Nidalee outside of the traps, outside of the attack speed steroid present on that Primal Surge.
Yeah, and ends up with Mad just resetting, refilling their wards, getting as many completed items as they can. Nice control ward cleared there by Elyoya. Because of that Dragon Steel as well, Vikings is not in any rush since the Infernal Soul is going to be available to them the next time that spawns. So as long as they keep a little bit of vision on Baron, they're mostly going to be worried about keeping that bot lane with Camille as pushed as possible so they have a way in to that final Drake fight.
Walking in, Myrwn going to spot the Camille. Myrwn very fearless.
I was thinking Nanaue was potentially in trouble, but because if Mad was able to move down the river there, they could have punish the flashless Camille, but he just slides right out of there undetected. It's
difficult, I think, for Myrwn to be too much of a threat without committing a lot of resources. Because if you go all out, Camille 3-shots you.
True.
Right. If you don't know 100% that you have the damage to finish that job, Camille very powerful at this point in the game. So for now, just a bit of poke, a bit of harass, multiple objectives up on the map. This is where that decision making is going to be so crucial. And when you look at the veterancy of both of these teams, Elyoya, really the leader of this MDK lineup, is the pick initially coming out, forced to flash out. Now come on to Katy. Really able to walk away. So ulti down for Alvaro is a big to start the fight.
We really have to watch Camille here. That's a nice trap if it found him. Otherwise, he still wants to control that zone there. There's not enough wards from Mad to actually stop him from being here. Myrwn trying to mark him, but he's jumped on now.
Myrwn not unkillable. It's a matter of time before that life bar is just going to be deleted. Poppy ready to disengage the play. VKE uncertain if they can go for the finish here, go for the kill.
I mean, Drake's up now. Myrwn has to base TP to get back.
Shogun getting chunked out. Myrwn canceled. Excellent ult coming in from Shogun. He's been so clutch for this team so many times in there. Giving them the advantage.
Flip it.
Myrwn with the TP. Alvaro going in. Nice look to start things off. Katy gonna get deleted. That's what they needed. Now Jinx finding the reset, but no immediate targets hit. VKE immediately retreating. Might just be able to go for the 50-50 here. Elyoya hovering. They're not gonna hit the objective. They know it's instead about the fight. Nanaue caught out. CC locked down. No. X-Tech ultimatum. Not enough. Shutdown coming through clutch for the Syndra. Dragon going down for MDK. Good discipline in the moment, but they want to go quick. They want to go for the end. An immediate TP to the top side. Fresskowy wants this tower at the very least. Maybe even the inhibitor to follow.
Those are really long long death timers on the Orianna and the Camille. That was a nice patient fight there by Mad, so it's still 3v5. This is at least 2 inhibitor turrets.
They don't really have any good wave clear. They don't really have any good way to stop this push, and Supa is incredibly powerful. Reset's going to be coming through for all of these little objectives.
Still dead. They could go for it.
Alvaro hooking in. Knock back onto Supa is big. It'll at least buy them a bit more space, a bit more time. Gury debating if he wants to follow up. Sonic Wave hits. The Resonating Strike not going to come through. Nanaue 22 seconds. 9 for Katy. Shockwave will be big here. Myrwn isolated.
Stop.
Shogun caught out. Rocket to finish the job. Another kill comes through. Surely this is the end for VKE in game 1. Katy here. The last stand. MDK, are they confident to keep pushing? Camille 4 seconds away. Nanaue still incredibly powerful. Shockwave there.
Nice
Katy locked up. The hook into the spear buys him a bit more space. Nanaue once again rooted, once again CC, but this time he's able to get the ult off, and Elyoya just gets deleted. True damage coming through, but the blade legs not doing enough work. Pullback from Myrwn is good. Hook shot, wall dive, but the only place left for VKE is the Fountain of Supa. Wants another kill. Flashes in with confidence. He might not find the kill, but he damn well will get the game. MDK strike first in this series.
It was a journey, but they got there in the end. I'd say a pretty big relief there